All right, here we are. We're dealing with chapter section 6.6, applying fraction operations. We're looking at working example number 1, using the order of operations. Now up in the cloud here we do mention that it's brackets, multiply or divide, then add or subtract. We tend to use BEDMAS, which is BEDMAS. And what that stands for, B is for brackets. E is exponents. D is division. M is multiplication. A is addition. And S is subtraction. So what this means is that brackets are done first. If you have any exponents, they are done second. Division and multiplication are done third together. And the order we do that in is from moving from left to right through our calculations. And then similarly, addition and subtraction are done fourth. Again, moving from left to right in your calculations. So that is the sequence of BEDMAS. The cloud doesn't mention brackets, so based on that cloud, we couldn't actually call it BEDMAS. Exponents typically show up in grade 9, so that's why it's not included there, but we do call it BEDMAS, so we should mention what the E stands for. All right, so in this first example, we've got 2 divided by 1/4 times 1/2. So I'm going to start by turning that whole number 2 into a fraction by simply placing it over 1, which can be seen right here. And then I'm going to use the reciprocal technique to do this. So my division sign is flipped and turned into a multiplication. So that's my first flip. And then I flip again by taking my initial fraction here, 1/4, and flipping it into 4/1. And then I leave the times 1/2 alone because that's the second operation that we're going to deal with. So now that we've got 2/1 times 4/1, to multiply fractions, we multiply the numerators, the top numbers together. So 2 times 4 is 8. And then we multiply our denominators together. So that's 1 times 1 on the bottom, and that gives us a 1. So now I have 8/1 times 1/2. So now we can simply do that. The top number is 8 times 1 is 8. And then 1 times 2 in the bottom is 2. Now to take care of that, 8/2, that's the same as 8 divided by 2, which is simply 4. So that is our answer for that particular question. Question B, 1/3 times brackets, 9 minus 2 close brackets. So according to BEDMAS, brackets are done first. So anything that's in the brackets is going to get done first. Now inside the brackets in this question, I only have one operation to deal with, and that's subtraction. So that's what we're going to do first. And the only other operation left after we deal with the subtraction is this multiplication. So we're going to do that second. So we'll start. We've got the question written here, 1/3 times 9 minus 2. The brackets is what gets done first. So we take 9 and we subtract 2, and we're left with 7. Now, as you can see over here on the cloud, we can say that 7 is the same as 7/1. So I'll just throw a 1 underneath this line so it looks a little bit like a fraction. And now we have 1/3 times 7. To do the multiplication of fractions, we multiply the tops. So 1 times 7 is 7. Multiply the bottoms, 3 times 1, and you're left with 3 right there. So now we have an answer of 7/3. To figure out how to go to a mixed number, I do 7 divided by 3, and that is 2 with a remainder of 1. So the 2 becomes my whole number. The remainder becomes my numerator. And then when we look back into the original question, 7 divided by 3, this 3 sticks as the denominator. So 2 1/3 is our final answer for question B. One more example here, a little bit more complicated. We've got mixed numbers this time. So we've got 2 1/4 divided by the brackets, and inside the brackets we have 1 3/4 plus 1 1/4. So according to BEDMAS, brackets are done first. Inside the brackets we only have one operation, so we're going to do the adding first, and then there's only one operation outside of the brackets, which is the division, so we'll do that second. So let's take a look at what's inside the brackets. We're told here that we can add the whole numbers together, and we've got so 1 3/4 and 1 1/4. We can take the two ones that are in front of the fractions and add them together, and then we can add the 3/4 and the 1/4 together. So 1 plus 1 gives us 2, and then 3/4 plus 1/4. It's a common denominator of 4, so we can just add the tops together. 3 plus 1 is 4, and then it stays over top of 4, so it becomes 4/4. And any number divided by itself equals 1. So we can change that 4/4 into 1, so then we're left with 2 plus 1, which is simply 3. So inside the brackets we have a value of 3. Now we can write that as a fraction by placing it over a 1, as we've got done here. Now, 2 1/4. As an improper fraction, we can say, okay, well, 4 times 2 is 8. Add 1 to it, and that gives us 9. So this becomes 9/4. And then we're still dividing by 3 over 1. There's another technique for converting your mixed number into an improper fraction. We have a whole number of 2, and then we have 1/4. The 1/4 we can write down here. The 2 value, that's 2. 2 is just simply 1 plus 1. Because our denominator in the fraction is a 4, we can represent 1 by 4 over 4. So we've got one whole here and another whole here. So together they make up that 2 that's in front of the 1/4 fraction. So we can write it this way, which is just addition using a common denominator of 4. The numerator's 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So that's another way to show that 2 1/4 is the same as 9/4. Personally, I prefer to take the 4, multiply it by 2 to get 8, and then add one more to get to 9. And then it becomes 9 over 4. That's my personal preference. All right, so 9/4 divided by 3 over 1. Let's do the reciprocal technique. I'm going to flip my division symbol into multiplication, and then I'm going to flip my 3 over 1. It's going to become 1 over 3. And then my 9 just carries down. So then I'm left with 9 over 4 times 1 over 3, which multiplying fractions, very nice and simple. Multiply the tops together. 9 times 1 is 9. And 4 times 3 is 12. So we have 9/12. If we look at the greatest common factors of 9 and 12, let's just look at the factors for 9 and 12. They're 1, 3, and 9, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. The greatest number that is common to both lists in this case is our 3. So we're going to divide the top and the bottom by 3 to get this into lowest terms. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And that gives us a final answer of 3 over 4.